Well, it looks like we've got the folks with things to contribute to the agenda, so why don't we go ahead and get started? I'll give Christian a second here. So, as has been the case in recent weeks, the migration off of AWS to GitHub is top of the agenda. We're making good progress, but about 80% to get the last 20% done is, I think, where we're at right now. Just to make sure that I've got my notes right, I think um, with respect to chart registries, um, and if I understood correctly, you've done the ONOS charts, but now it's a matter of the RAN charts that use ONOS. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I'm starting to look at the SD-RAN charts this morning.
Okay. It's on Wu Zhang's agenda too, but he has not been able to find time recently. Um, all right, so we're in good shape there. Image registries. I know that you're working on this, Gabriel. You're sort of incrementally moving them. Is there any more to say than the bullets here?
Yeah, so we have the base build, so the image to build the base for the UPF that we have been using that for some time now from the GitHub registry. So for the AMF, we published one image to kind of test that the reusable workflows were working as expected, that everything is working fine. However, we are not using them yet because the idea is I'm waiting for Suresh to do some additional to replicate what we did in the AMF across the rest of the code base. So as soon as we have replicated what we did in the AMF across the code base, we're going to publish the image, do a release and publish the images. So we have everything there. And then the next step is just is to also update the Helm charts. But the other thing that we're doing is we want, as part of this release, to include the multiple DNN support, which is a contribution from the iOS MCM team. And we are reviewing the 3 PR that we have seen so far. And related to that, I have a question for either you or Eric. Are the charts on the Ether project still working or they are gone?
The charts for what?
For the SD core charts from the etherproject.org. Is it still
Uh, the,
available or it's
yeah, the
gone?
previous registry should still be up.
Yeah, the registries, nothing's been taken down yet.
Oh, because I'm getting an error from the GitHub Actions because I was working on kind of reviewing these PRs that we want to include, but it's kind of complaining that the charts.etherproject.org are out. Oh, so they are not working. Yeah, so those are the two things that we need to we want to do before we start publishing the images on the GitHub registry. So um,
Right. So what my timeline for this, I guess, is implicitly ASAP, but you've got a bunch of things to do. You got a bunch of balls in the air on this. Do you have any notion of timeline for getting SD core weaned off of the existing image registries?
um, probably in a week or two we can finalize this. But yeah, but if there is priority on your side, I can try to work with Suresh on this one, kind of like speed this up.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we have in 2 weeks. Well, it's not quite the end of the month, but it would be ideal if we could get these very close to that stage by the end of the month. All right, anything else to say about image registries? All right, so on docs, SD-RAN is still to do. It shouldn't be too hard. I might go ahead and take a look at that again. Wuzhong has not had much free time recently. So I'm not worried about that one, but all right. Jenkins, the quick start test is now running as a GitHub action. It runs on push and manually triggered. All the others
Yeah.
are just going to manually trigger for now.
Yeah, and I've had occasion to use the quick start job in the GitHub action, and it worked flawlessly. It was super convenient. So yeah, I was really excited.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that one. Unfortunately, and we'll hear from Eric in a second, the other tests were very straightforward to transcribe into GitHub Actions, having done it once. But for me, they didn't run, and I'm a little concerned. There's some internal dependencies of some kind there. Eric, any updates on that?
Not right now. I'm still not sure what's causing the failures. It seems pretty straightforward, and the first one works, and the others don't. I actually would appreciate it if somebody who's more familiar with what exactly they're doing, with the actual steps of the testing, um, to take a look and see if maybe they can spot what's going wrong. Because just
Can,
from a build standpoint, I don't fully understand why it would go wrong, and I think from a, debugging standpoint, somebody would understand better.
So
can you
for
share a
people that
link
have
with
some
the issue?
familiarity, if you
Yeah.
go to the on-ramp repo and look at the actions, you will see a set of test actions here. These are only the tests that require one VM. It's not the ones that set up multiple VMs. So we're doing the straightforward ones. And Eric, for your information, the only difference between, so they've all been moved here, and they're all running only manually, so they're not getting triggered all the time. Um, all that AMP does and ran, no, I'm sorry, all that AMP does is bring up another Kubernetes works namespace. And so it's still purely contained within Kubernetes. But once you get to all these other ones, there is a separate um, Docker container putting workload on the core. And so my hunch is that there's something about the environment they're running in that separate Docker container doesn't work. So UE ransim as an example. Well, I won't go through these, but if anyone wants to take a look at these and just run them manually and look at why they're failing.
But all of them are failing, or is there one specific that is failing? So which
Well,
one?
they're all failing
No,
in different ways. I haven't done an exhaustive search, but they all seem to be behaving in different ways.
but the quick start seems to be working, right? Or is it still
And quick
failing? Is
start's
it
working
failing
just
as well?
fine.
Okay, so all of the other ones are failing. Okay. The SRS run hasn't been run, right? Because I don't see
So
that
they
it
haven't all
says.
been run. So I just did the straight. Well, Eric, I know that you have checked mine out, and maybe there are some changes, but as far as we know, what you had and what I had was essentially the same, right?
Yeah. I'm still going to link to stuff in my fork because I've run more tests there.
Yeah, I didn't run a lot of tests, and Eric and I had kind of been doing something in parallel here, so we're trying to resync it. But yeah, these I mean, what all the tiers just was a very fast clot assist to take the Jenkins jobs and turn them into GitHub actions. So um, the eyeball test says they're perfectly good. And they all look almost exactly the same, but for some reason they're failing. Anyway, that's probably enough time on that. If anyone that could take a look and try to understand, and it's got to be something about the hosting environment, why those are failing.
Yeah, Eric, if you can share one specific error that you see, and I can take a quick look into what exactly is
Well, I
failing.
mean,
Both of those jobs that I linked to in the chat
Oh, you put something on
have,
chat. Let me see.
yeah.
those are from his fork, right? Yeah. And again, if you go to what I just pointed you at, um, back up at the actions, you can see the failed actions here. All right, so here's a run of SD-RAN, which does very little more than quick start. It just runs the RAN stack, and well, yeah, I mean that's a place you can look, and you can see that it basically ran for an hour and then finally gave up. So it's not failing; it's failing to complete. I mean, it's not crashing.
Yeah, so the first link, the quick startup, the issue is loading the models in the rock. And that's something that we have seen regardless of whether it's in here or
Yeah, but
running in
I
the
ran
GitHub
that
Actions
one
or
and
not.
it made it through that stage. It was somewhere else that it failed. So it's not strictly that. So I mean, looking at these examples, failures, I wouldn't jump to conclusions because it seems to be failing in different places. So I don't know what to say about that.
Okay.
I guess I was hoping there would be more history here. How do I see if I come to here? Yeah, so here's one. I killed this one because it was running forever. But if you look in the trace of it, it had made it past loading the models. Anyway, where are we? Let's come back. Let's get back to the agenda. All right. So um, I just wanted to get here. All right. Moving on to SD core. Oh, by the way, Jenkins has fallen over, and Eric, I think we probably just maybe ought to. Well, I can go in and disable the job so they don't run. There's no reason to put any effort into getting it running again. I don't think so. I just need. Okay, SD core.
Yeah, so one of the things that we did, at least in the last few weeks, last couple of weeks, is we addressed there was since we have been enabling, OpenSSF kind of best practice across the SD core. The only kind of component that had some issues was the UPF because something related to serialization with protobuf. The version of protobuf was kind of old. And that was kind of related to what was the version of Protoxy that was used, at least in Ubuntu 20 and Ubuntu 22. So to address this issue, basically what we did, we installed from source ProtoC, Protobuf and gRPC, and then run the whole thing, and everything got addressed. Now all those kind of 7 high severity risks that were kind of reported through GitHub through Dependabot or by the Dependabot got addressed. But something that I noticed yesterday is that for some reason the web GUI for the UPF that shows the pipeline basically stops working, and that's something that I'm kind of like currently debugging to understand what's going on. Also, we have an effort to move the entire code base for base to Ubuntu 24. We have a good progress, but yesterday I got some issues with memory allocation when deploying the UPF in my local environment. So that's the other thing that we are addressing. Then I see that you put the bug reports that were kind of mentioned on Slack.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
like contact the person who posted those issues to see how we can actually replicate. So based on what he replied, or this person replied, is that basically it's putting some specific inputs based on what he shared on the document. So it's some specific input for the N2 interface, and based on that, it makes the AMF to crash. So we need to kind of have a better understanding of how we can pass exactly the same values, or how we can replicate those same values, and so we can understand how to fix those issues or those crashes that the person is kind of reporting. Yeah, so but that was kind of reported earlier today. So at the moment, my highest priority is address the issue with the UPF's web interface. So and then I can move into having this closer look into the bug reports. And the other thing is, again, it seems like the charts are offline because I was kind of reviewing these multiple DNN PRs from the iOS MCM team, but one of the actions is failing because it's searching for these charts that either project at all, and it says that basically just times out and the whole action fails. Is that something that you, Eric, can please take a look?
Don't know.
That's from the core, and then from on-ramp we kind of core base build. Also, we created a newer Helm chart that added a few more kind of like small features, fix some issues and some cleanup. And now I think the on-ramp is using a Helm charts version 3.1.10, I believe, or 3.1.6.
I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, we made that update, and those changes are included there. And there is nothing else from my side.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have updates?
Update from iOS MCN side. Currently, we will also put one PR on service request bug fix. That's
Oh yes.
also waiting for that flow.
Oh yeah,
And
I already reviewed it, and I put some comments back. So there are several things a few things that need to be addressed. So as soon as that it's addressed, we can merge that PR. Thank you.
sure. Then currently
Yes.
this week and the coming 2 weeks, we are working on adding the IMS capability as part of AMF and SNF. Maybe by coming 2 weeks, we will be putting that PRs also.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. All right, anything else generally? All right, thanks. We'll do it again in a couple weeks. And again, anyone that can lend a hand on seeing if we can debug the GitHub tests actions would be appreciated. All right,
Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
Yep.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Wow.